Joy to the world. All the boys and girls now. Woo-hoo. Roger Fredinburg here. Hello, how are you? Joy to the world, man. Wow. I mean, has this been a week or what? We had the bizarre presidential, whatever that thing was they called State of the Union. I think it was like the grand delusion. Holy cow. I mean, I have heard everything now. But it really was, I mean, a friend of mine called up and said, hey, what was your take on that, man? And I said, really, it was just more of the same. I put out a meme the very next day to the world that basically said Obama had written a presidential proclamation or executive order declaring that he already made America great again and Donald Trump should find a new slogan. I mean that's, I am the greatest that ever lived and here are the wondrous and magical things that I have done for you. And right on the heels of his greatness, his great speech was the collapse of the folks on Wall Street. One of the biggest declines at the start of the year ever in history for the Wall Street folks. Oil plummeted below $30 a barrel. The Walmart folks have announced that because of minimum wage hikes, Obamacare, and all these pressures, they're going to close worldwide some 250 plus stores, about 180 of them here in America, and maybe more to come. Macy's is closing down stores, laying off thousands and thousands of people, 4,000 to 5,000 people. Walmart's going to lay off 10,000 or more people. The cascading effect of this, of course, is that retail in this country is in big trouble. There are any number of reasons for that, but it's what's happening. It's what's happening. And the President of the United States, in my honest opinion, lives in a state of delusion. I know people who live in those states of mind. I know people personally who live in a delusional state of mind. And I feel sorry for them. I feel sad for them because I don't really believe that psychotropic medication helps. I don't really believe that witch doctors called psychiatrists are of any real value to anyone. Maybe a few, but very few. So people who live in a state of self-delusion, people who have this pious, sense of aristocracy, this lunacy, and Obama is certainly one of those people, are really hard to help. Really, really hard to help. But there are people out there who just think they're above it all. There are people out there who just, absolutely, and politicians are notorious for this. And it's why the Donald Trump, Ted Cruz effect is occurring in this election cycle for the Republican Party. People have had enough. The grand delusion has to come to an end. Folks realize that this incredible theater that has been put on for 100 years or so in America has got to be modernized somehow. I mean, even Hillary, the darling of the Democratic world, is dropping like a rock. And what's really frightening, honestly, is that a guy like Bernie Sanders could even be considered a legitimate candidate. A radicalized socialist Looney Tune. I mean, the guy really, truly, it's like, Elmer Fudd crossed with Bugs Bunny wrapped in a Roger Rabbit illusion. I mean, these people are nuts that support this guy. And yet he could very well be the Democrat nominee. This is craziness. Donald Trump, who is certainly, and of course I've been supporting Trump unabashedly, not because I think he's a great conservative mind, not because I think he's the conservative answer to the liberal myopic stupidity that has destroyed America, but because he shakes the tree, man. The nuts are falling out of the tree, Trump just keeps shaking. The harder he shakes, the more nuts fall out on the ground. Hello? And then there's Iran. My week started out with a picture of our military personnel on their knees on the deck, on the bow of an American boat, maybe an Iranian boat, hell, I don't know, I think American boat. Guns at the back of their head. Female soldier forced to wear, the traditional Muslim head cover. I don't know what they call it. It wasn't a full burqa, but I forget what they call, the headdress. But the point is, and a great embarrassment to the country. A truly incredible embarrassment to our military. And you have John Kerry and the president out there going, thank you for capturing our people, God. And then this amazing story when I got up yesterday, Iran released 4 imprisoned U.S. citizens, including Pastor Saeed Abedini. Well, we've been praying for Saeed Abedini for some time now. We've been just hopeful and prayerful, and I mean, I cannot help but rejoice the fact that he and these other folks who have been wrongly imprisoned in Iran have been released. I'm sitting here and I'm shaking my head because I don't really want to say anything nice at all. I don't want to have even the slightest positive inclination towards Obama and the Iranian mullahs and ayatollahs, but here it is. The American Center for Law and Justice confirmed the release of Pastor Saeed. We can confirm he has been released, said Jordan Sekulow, the ACLJ. Pastor Abedini was detained for sharing his faith in September 2012, sentenced in 2013 to 8 years in prison. His family said he was beaten, denied medical treatment. It was horrifying. Washington Post journalist Jason Rezaian, now out. Former U.S. Marine Amir Hekmati of Flint, Michigan. Siamek Namazi, a businessman, son of a politician. All 4 dual U.S. Iranian citizens, but Americans nonetheless. They've been freed. And so I rejoice in that. I raise up my hands and my heart in prayer of thanks. I'm grateful to God. I don't really want to be grateful to Iran and to the Obama administration, but wherever credit's due, credit should be given. I'm just rejoicing today in the freedom of these fine people. And I say fine people because I have no reason to think otherwise of them. And Mr. Abedini, we've talked to his family. We've been very, very close to the news cycle on the events surrounding his capture and now ultimately his return, and I'm rejoicing. Other big news: Al Jazeera America, Al Jazeera USA, baby, shutting down. Here's the story out of New York. Despite enjoying lavish funding from its Qatari owners, Al Jazeera America has announced that it will cease operations in April, blaming, and pay attention to this, blaming stubbornly low rates of Jew hatred in the United States. They couldn't find enough anti-Semites. I mean, that's just wild, isn't it? I mean, it just, I read that story and I go, what, really? Launched in 2013, Al Jazeera America promised to provide more serious reporting than other U.S. networks like CNN, Fox News. However, despite a massive budget from the Emir of Qatar that enabled them to recruit top journalists, Al Jazeera America struggled with persistently low ratings. It was embroiled in multiple discrimination lawsuits amid accusations of anti-Semitism and sexism. Here's what the CEO said. Al Asti said, the low rates of U.S. anti-Semitism make our business model unsustainable. While we did our best to boost Jew hatred, with numerous unbalanced stories accusing Israel of causing all the Middle East wars, U.S. viewers just wouldn't buy it. So just when you think the American people are dead from the neck up, just when you think there's no hope left, just when you think it's all over for the country, a story like that comes out and you begin to scratch your head and say, oh my God, there are actually people in this country with a brain. That these crazy Islamist-based nut jobs from Al Jazeera were unable to foment the kind of hatred and division and disparaging lunacy in the media that is so evident with our current president in the White House. You know, it's funny how Obama is so successful with the exact same agenda. I thought about this. I woke up to this the other morning. I said, oh my God, Al Jazeera is going down. It's because they couldn't compete with Obama. It wasn't because they couldn't compete with CNN, Fox, One American News, Newsmax, whoever. Hello? They could not compete with Obama. Obama literally has the market cornered on hating everything white, Jewish, successful, prosperous, whatever. Obama has trampled on Israel, stomped all over the very Jewish people who donated bazillions of dollars to get him elected. He has literally spit in the face of the American Jewish community, and he's still standing. I keep praying for a coup d'etat, military. Oh well. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Roger Fredinburg. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Roger Fredinburg Show.
Well, I know I do. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Roger Fredinburg Radio Show. At Radio Roger on Twitter, Roger Fredinburg on Facebook. That's the preferred method out there nowadays. At Radio Roger on Twitter. You can like me there. You can go up to Facebook, send me a friend request. If you're a real person, I'll put you on the machine, man. On the machine. I put out regular daily input on events and occurrences. It's good stuff, fun stuff. You should like it. At Radio Roger on Twitter, Roger Fredinburg on Facebook, Radio Roger at AOL.com if you want to email me. And I don't give out my text because last time I did that, I got wiped out. Anyway, so we've had quite a week. I'm going to get to everything, folks. I'm going to get to the debate. I'm going to get to Trump. I'm going to get to Cruz. I'm going to get to the New York subject. I'm going to get to all this. Just bear with me. I'm getting there. But there's just a lot of really interesting material that needs to be discussed. So hang in because I got some good stuff on Trump, the Trump-Cruz battle, the war. Are you a citizen or not, boy? All that's coming up. The President's State of the Union highlights and my commentary, which I know so many of you love and some of you don't like so much. I found an interesting article today, or yesterday. I guess I actually found the article yesterday. A new bill introduced in the Indiana General Assembly on Thursday could finally mark the beginning of a responsible citizen-first labor policy in the United States. While the federal government consistently chooses to defy the will and the interests of the American people, state governments in many ways still maintain the ability to act on our behalf if they choose to do so. So in Indiana, they have Senate Bill 285. Senate Bill 285 would be among the strictest in the nation, allowing judges to strip employers of their business licenses upon a third violation of knowingly hiring an illegal alien, already a violation of federal immigration law. And this is a good bill. I mean, I saw this and I like this. It's against the law to hire illegals, and if you do it more than three times, then we're going to do something. I mean, this is, I got to tell you, the way we operate in America today. Well, I'm going to let you go on your first 4 drunk driving tickets, but after that, you're in trouble, boy. It's like, what? So the problem with the illegals is that when they come here, And they know this. They're smart. People from other places, especially the third world, where they live in abject poverty and starvation. The word gets out quick when there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So they understand that they come to America and they don't qualify for benefits themselves, but if they can manage to get here illegally and then have a child, an anchor baby, that baby is now eligible for everything. Housing, Obama phones, Obamacare, food stamps, welfare checks, and on it goes. Free diapers, free formula, doesn't matter. They got a program for everything out there, okay? So if you don't include the government, if you're going to give driver's license and allow illegal immigrants' children to go to school and all that, if illegal immigrants can use the emergency room as their health insurance policy with no fear of being deported back to wherever they come from, then you can't fix the problem. So while I think it's fine that we have laws that are stricter and enforced against employers hiring illegal aliens, I do think that the concept of this falls short because one of the biggest abusers is the government. The biggest sanctuary for illegals is the federal government. Okay? People don't realize that. The biggest sanctuary for illegals is the federal government, the state government, the local government that provide benefits, education. Hello? So it's not just business people. All right? We'll be right back. The Roger Fredinburg Show. This really should be Donald Trump's theme song. He's been taking care of business. Taking care of business. You see, everybody wants or expects in the political punditry world, whether it's media or otherwise, the folks at the National Review. Oh, my God. Bill Buckley's rolling over in his grave right now. The problem with a guy like Donald Trump is Trump never really had any intention of ever running for public office. He never spent his, off hours practicing and learning how to avoid saying things of controversy that might get him in trouble later. He tried to be a benevolent and giving fellow, so when someone like the Clinton Foundation would approach him and say, hey, we're doing work, we're helping people in Haiti, and the poor people need us. He had plenty of money. He'd say, I'll give you a check. I want to help the people of Haiti. It never occurred, and he knew that by doing that, making a donation, say, to the Clinton Foundation, that if he ever needed to have Hillary or Bill Clinton's ear for something, he could probably make a phone call and have them pick up the phone because they'd feel a little bit, committed to him because he gave money. Obligation is something that comes with money gifts. It does. When I was a salesman, we used to give out these little gifts to people. We go in, give them a little screwdriver or whatever, flashlight. And I remember the guy that trained me years ago said, when you give it to them, make them tug on it a little bit to take it out of your hand because it gives them a subliminal sense of value. And that's it, because but once they feel in their heart or in their subconscious that you've given them something of value, then there's this urgency in their heart to, even if it's subliminal and they don't know it outwardly and consciously, they're obligated, they feel, to, psychologically, however you want to describe it, to maybe do some business with you. You've got something they want. You're not, it's not a pushover thing, but it works. I did it successfully for years. I know it works. The point is that when you're in business, you hand out little goodies and things, whatever it is that you're able to give out to obligate people to your cause. And so Trump has been harshly misunderstood because of that. And I'm able to look past all of that nonsense because I don't care. What I care about, and this is so important for me, is that Trump keeps his word now. That if he gets elected, God have mercy, he may actually do it. If he does get elected, he has to keep his word. And Trump is using what I call the KISS formula. Keep it simple, silly, stupid, whatever word you want to use there. Trump has made it very simple for people to like him as a candidate. He hasn't confused people with a bunch of, bizarre legislative nigglies that people have to spend, 400,000 years in college classes to learn to understand. Here's my comprehensive plan on economic reform. And you look at it's a bunch of econometrics, numbers, and graphs and charts. People, Trump is keeping it simple. He said, let's make America great again. We can make America great again. It's all inclusive. It means whatever you want it to mean. If you're a moderate Democrat and you hear that, a Reagan Democrat or whatever, and you hear a guy say, we can make America great again. All I want to do is make America great again. Well, I don't care what side of the political aisle you land on. Most people are going to find that to be psychologically appealing. Yeah, let's make America great again. That's a great idea, So you subliminally plant this positive message. We can make America great again. Let's work together. Let's make America great again. I know how to do it. Folks, I've got ideas. I'm a businessman. I'm a success. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I know how to manage and make things happen. And you think about a guy who builds. A guy who builds stuff knows that you have to have a good foundation, and then you have to have a good framework, and then you fill that in. And he also knows that along the way you may have to change the color of the tile or the carpets or the brand of the windows or what. I mean, there may be things you have to change from the plan as you build your building, and this is what Trump brings to the table. This concept of being able to build stuff. He can go in and help build a better government because he understands the basic mechanical concept of starting out with a good foundation, which we have as America, and building from that upwards this beautiful, towering, shining city on a hill, as we like to call it, in the Republican realm. I don't think that any conservatives are confused about Donald Trump being the ultimate right-wing candidate. He's not that. Donald Trump is a deal maker. He's a guy who will bring the Republicans and Democrats into his office, the leaders, and he'll have them walking out of there feeling great about going out and making America great again. I just know he will. I feel it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what do we got now? You heard what Sarah Palin said. What would the Republicans that we have in power now know about conservatism? They don't know anything about it. They're a bunch of crony capitalist lunatics. But the National Review, the stalwart magazine of the Neocons, and a bunch of folks, including Glenn Beck and Dana Lash and people that are connected to Glenn Beck, etc., have now come out and publicly attacked Donald Trump. And it's backfiring. It's backfiring in a big way because now they are losing it. They are losing their support. The cancellations for subscriptions, I'm told by a friend of mine that was affiliated with them quite closely, I have to be careful here not to expose anybody, said they're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of subscription cancellations. They're getting thousands of angry phone calls. Thousands. People have never heard of them before calling us, "You dirty, you good, yeah." And the problem is that they don't get that Trump isn't going to bog down the voters base, the support base, with a bunch of minutia. Because he knows as president, you're only going to be able to put an idea out there. He understands. He's a smart guy. He knows the president isn't going to lower your taxes. The president isn't going to fix anything. He says, we're going to build a wall. He didn't say, I'm going to build a wall. He said, we're going to build a wall. And he's going to go in and he's going to bring those guys in his office and he's going to lay out a plan. And they're going to argue out the finer details of the plan. And they're going to walk out of that Oval Office with a plan to build a wall. You wait and see. He's going to get the military folks together and he's going to say, tell me what you really need. He's going to pull in the folks, people in Congress, and he's going to get them all in a room and say, here's what the generals tell me we need. Here's what the career folks over at the Pentagon tell me we've got to have to be successful. Here's what we have now. Here's what I'm proposing. Let's hammer it out. And they're all going to walk out of there thinking, hey, man, we're making America great again. You wait and see. You're going to have Democrats and Republicans saying, we're all working together to make America great again. It's going to become a huge theme. I see it. I guess I've been around this stuff a long time, and I know when something new and exciting is on the horizon. Something new and exciting and amazing is about to happen in this country. Look, Sarah Palin came out for Trump. The Duck Dynasty star Willie Robertson came out for Trump. Even Kenny Rogers has come out for Trump. The National Black Republican Association, the grassroots activist organization committed to returning African Americans to their Republican roots, they're out there for Trump. Sarah Palin, the Duck Dynasty guy, I mean, come on, Willie. They give Trump those if Phyllis Schlafly and other conservatives who have supported Trump or not, I mean, up to this point anyway, if they didn't give him the credentials he needed, Sarah Palin certainly does. Willie does, right? And it's just going more and more and more like that, where Trump is getting more and more support because his message is simple. He's not confusing people with a bunch of lunacy. Yeah, here's a bunch of policy wonk wizardry. I want you to go through all of this. And so you've got, Mark Levin, who comes out for Cruz, and then Mark Levin forgets to tell everybody that the son of his fiancée is a full-time paid staffer on the Cruz campaign. So now you've got Mark Levin with egg all over his face because what people are calling him the crony constitutionalist. Because he's been omitting the fact that his family is getting paid, personally benefiting from the Ted Cruz 2016 campaign coffers. And Mark, you should have made that public. I'm sorry, I don't want to attack you too hard, although you are nuts on this Constitution Convention nonsense, but this is not right for Mark Levin to be out there pumping for Cruz, passionately pushing for Cruz, trashing and beating on Trump, and not making it clear that his family is benefiting from the campaign of Ted Cruz. That's an omission that borders a lie. And I'm not into that kind of stuff. Everything above board, everything out front. Now, I did see a beautiful thing came across my desk yesterday. Said, hey, look, the government shut down Friday and nothing bad happened, over the blizzard. And then I was teasing about how on the East Coast, they all name their storms out there. This is, I don't know, Storm Judah or so. I don't forget some name for it anyway. Who knows? But they always name the storms. Out on the West Coast, they just say rain, hail, snow, bad weather, And nobody names the storms on the West Coast. But out on the East Coast, for some reason, all the storms have names. Why is that? I just thought it was weird. They're all shutting down. Stop, stay home. And there have been several people die, quite a few, over a dozen people dead. I mean, it's a terrible storm, but people are like they were with the big storm Sandy. Yeah, there's a big storm coming. Duck and cover. Oh, I'm going to go out and get killed instead because I'm really stupid. It's like, oh, God. Anyway, we'll be back on the Roger Fredinburg Show right after this. Don't go away. Naturally. Yes, naturally. Hello, Roger Fredinburg here. I could just sit here and listen to music. I should just go back to being a disc jockey. Just do music and have a good time, huh? You gotta like music, right? Well, look, I know I'm beating my Trump drum today, but I see these wackos come out against Trump and they don't know what they're talking about. There is no phenomenon like Trump in the modern age. We've never seen anybody dominate like he's dominating now. It's never happened before. So, we don't know. I mean, everybody with a brain has finally concluded that we just don't really know what the Trump effect is. Here's a Reuters rolling poll from Saturday, I guess. Well, Friday. Trump 40%, 40.6% to be exact. This is a national poll. Cruz 10.5%, Carson 9.7%, Bush 9.2%, blah, 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 down it goes. I mean, Trump 40.6% on a Reuters rolling poll. Hello? And then you've got Trump and Cruz arguing back and forth in the media now in Iowa. And you've got the flip-flops on the ethanol stuff. You know, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we can debate. But just about every farm product is subsidized in this country. If they didn't subsidize milk and eggs, you'd be paying $100 a carton for eggs, I'm telling you. So they do subsidize food because to compete with foreign foods, the prices have to be kept down. So the government subsidizes and pays farmers not to farm. We hear these stories all the time. Not arguing in favor of, I'm just saying it's part of the deal. So when you go out to Iowa and you're trying to get elected in Iowa, a corn state that makes a lot of money and has a lot of jobs connected to ethanol, which, by the way, I'm completely opposed to ethanol personally. But, you know, you're going to play to your audience. You're going to do that. And ethanol is, I mean, the amount of money spent on ethanol is such a drop in the bucket, such an infinitesimal, useless, ridiculous amount of money in comparison to some of the other wasteful things we do. It's just not the highest priority issue. So why go out and screw yourself as a candidate and attack the ethanol industry? You know, Ted Cruz has flip-flopped on it. I don't know where Donald Trump exactly is on. He says he's for it now. It doesn't really matter. And again, with Trump, I just would tell you, I truly, honestly believe that you have to give the guy some rope. He's never been in politics before. So you don't know. You really don't know what he's going to do. So you have to take him at his word. I'm going to repeat, I am one of those guys who I'm willing to, unless you have just this pattern of being a dirty, no good, lying, thieving scumbag, you know, you have some reputation developed already for that. Then if you don't have a bad reputation, your reputation is pretty good. Trump's is pretty good. People who do business with him, people who work for him say he's honest as the day is long. You know, you judge a man by his fruit. So when people say, well, the guy is honest and he's never cheated me, and now they're attacking him on eminent domain, I'm thinking eminent domain, I hate eminent domain. I do, but our founders put it in the Constitution for a reason. And they understood that there were going to be people who would try to stop progress. And that the only way you could move those people out of your way to make the progress happen was you had to write them a check. It's called the Takings Clause in the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. So then people say, well, you know, they're using the powers of eminent domain to enrich private people. No, that's not true. What happens is you've got a slum that's a crime-ridden, horrible area, and you've got developers who want to improve that area and put in nice new condos and shopping center and a mall and blah, blah, blah. So which is a better benefit to the community? A slime-ridden, crime-infested hole or a nice new condominium complex with high-rises and a mall? I mean, get a clue here, people. So the point is that their property has no value as a crap hole. It only develops value after it's developed into something nice. And so this theory that they're being ripped off because the property is worth a lot, what's a lie? Nobody would even buy in most of these places that get taken by eminent domain and repurposed. And so, you know, look, without it, there would be no progress. The courts have ruled on it. Honest to God, I don't even know why it's an issue, but it is. I gotta go. Larry Pratt up next. Woo! And I mean, this is real. This is live, man. It's not. This is good stuff. Just happened now. Right here on the Roger Fredinburg Show. So bear with us while we get this underway. Undertow. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Roger Fredinburg Show.